Good morning, Kevin here. Well, today was supposed to have been the day that we did the next Kevin's Rambles walk, but because of the forecast and the fact we've had such heavy rain recently, even this morning, we decided to call it off. But also we've still got this issue of COVID going on, and as you can see alongside me I've got Cynthia there.
Morning.
We've stripped down my rig, as I call it, to its bare minimum because of the threat of rain. But Cynthia, well, both Cynthia and I were signed up to do hashtag walk 1,000 miles in a calendar year. I was doing very well until I had to go back to work, and then the walking from that, which was quite intensive, got put to one side completely. But Cynthia is still... Somebody's just tooted to us. I haven't got a clue who that was. Yes, one of my fans. Cynthia, bless her, has still been pressing on with it, and she's got to complete 9 miles between now and Friday. So she asked me if I would come out today with her. We're just going to do a walk around Midhurst, just to try and help her gain a few more miles. And I was glad to offer to her to accept her offer. So we're just walking down the old Chichester Road, heading in towards the town, but we'll be turning off just before we get to the old part of Midhurst. Now I'm very dependent on the microphones on my GoPro, because I didn't want to risk bringing any of my audio stuff out because it's not waterproof, whereas the GoPro is. So we are heading down this way, and in about 100 yards time we get to South Ponds, and then just after that we turn right. We are now at the wharf, which is an industrial area with small units, but this is probably one of the most photographed bridges anywhere around here. So you can see the volume of water that's coming down through here, right from up there, and it's really murky and horrible. Just look at that, and then it disappears all the way down underneath there. We could, if we wanted to, go up over the bridge and up into the far corner and do King John's Walk, but we're not. We're going this way round, and this is at the foot of the area known as St Anne's Hill, which was got a lot of history to it, and anybody that's seen my other videos will know that I filmed up there a couple of times. But as you can see here, look at this, very wet underfoot, very slippy on all these leaves. Well, we've just come along the last little bit of Midhurst Causeway and across the bridge, and here we are at Cowdray Ruins, and you can see the ground is absolutely saturated with water, and you can see all the different lights, the white lights over there, and there's a big black projector here, which is what they're using to illuminate Cowdray Ruins for the Christmas at Cowdray, or Cowdray at Christmas, or something, whatever they call it. Yeah. So we're going to attempt to walk round on the path that I've always gone on to do my normal walk, but we'll soon find out if we're allowed to go around there or not. In the past we've never been stopped, but at the moment this is different. Yeah, Cynthia's just said there's a notice round here. And you got that hut there, which is where they sit and check everybody in. Light up trails. All access is strictly prohibited until the 8th of January 2022. No unauthorised access through these gates. Thank you for your cooperation. Yeah, okay, I can understand they don't want people to go through it, but at the end of the day, we're not going around there to... We're not enjoying the lights are not on.
Oh, but you could interfere with it.
I could interfere with the lights, that's quite true. But personally...
And you could hide in there till dark.
Oh yeah, I could hide. I could definitely hide in there somewhere. Not. But you know, I just think it's mean. If we were going to go over there to experience the lights, fine. We're not, because they don't come on until late afternoon, early evening. So to actually ban us from going round there is, I think, a bit out of order. That's my opinion, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion about everything. So we've now got to go along here. I've had to change GoPros. I realised at the start that the little side door where the battery sits, I hadn't put that back on because it was sitting in a cage. Well, we've walked round Caldry now. We went through the churchyard and we're now by the mill pool. Let me just show you. I'm not going to go right down. Well, I might do. I might be brave. Let me just show you that. What's the chance of me going down here without slipping over? I succeeded. If I get a bit lower down here, then you can see the torrent of water that's coming through the floodgates over there, the barriers. Huge amount of water coming through there. Cynthia's up there on the bank, taking photographs by the looks of it. And just down here is the bridge where the 286 crosses, going underneath there. So we have got to, now bearing in mind where I'm standing now, let me just stand back here, the bank line there, which is what, I'm guessing 3 feet thereabouts above my feet level, perhaps a bit more. That's where the water level was yesterday. So you can tell that the water level gets incredibly deep here. So now I've got to try and climb back up this little bank, up, and without slipping. And the plan is we're going to do what is known as the river walk. We know it's going to be extremely muddy. Oh gosh, and very slippery. So let me just come down here. Sorry, say again? Yeah, the water has... Yeah, so the water level's been coming right across here. Yeah. Gosh, yeah, look at the size of this wood. This log that's brought down with it. Yeah. We've come along a little bit further and you can see that the river is really well up still, but we have had some torrential rain recently, and we're just come past a fork in the path which would have taken us up past the academy, Midhurst Academy, which is up there. But this is the walk we wanted to do. Rightly or wrongly to do this walk, I don't know, but it is extremely muddy and wet here, and this is another reason why we decided to call off the walk, which started in Lip Hook, because of the conditions underfoot. But you can see, look how bad it is just here where it's walked on so much. And this area, this whole area, would have been flooded. You can see where the water's flattened everything. So we've now both got our walking poles out. Warm walking pole. But it's worth just trying to get a video when I'm out. And I have to say, the walk along here is the worst I've ever seen it. I've walked this way several times, and a hell of a lot of times, and I've never seen it this bad before. So we're pressing on. And something that Cynthia and I were talking about earlier on was the mistletoe. And I know I've mentioned this in videos before, but it is the amount of mistletoe that is in all the trees around, particularly the golf course and the polo fields and the church. We saw a tree just now which, if you had a tall pair of step ladders, you could have reached the mistletoe. It's just amazing. I've never seen an area like it before. So anyway, as we squelch on, and I'm doing this just so to say, I'm only doing this to help Cynthia out and encourage her to get these last few miles done. She's done a lot of the walking recently on her own the last few days, and as I said earlier on at the start, she did ask me if I'd be willing to come out and help her. I was just turning around because I thought you might have fallen over.
No, I'm trying to get off the mud.
Well, I don't blame you. Right.
Onwards.
Yeah, it's definitely not upwards, but it's definitely onwards.
Feels like it's upwards.
It does. It's hard work walking through this stuff. It feels like we're actually been walking up some steep hills, because you're taking, you know, you put your foot down and it's slipping backwards. We've got so far, and we've done all right so far. Lots of, as I said, mud and water and everything, but this is what we're greeted with here now. And we've got to get up onto that boardwalk, and it does mean that we've got to edge along the edge of this water, which is just here, and I can't get my foot out of the mud. That's it, I've managed. And there is a finger post just there, so I've got to get along here. The one good thing about this boardwalk is got wire along it, which is great, but this is all swamp marshland along here, and we're just very carefully, so I just obviously didn't want to see one of those comedy moments spring up there.
You were waiting for it.
Hence the reason why I was filming it. But you know, at least we're on this dry walkway now for a little way. Oh, crikey. I've just got my... Yeah, it was, yeah. As Cynthia said, was that a comedy moment? I was walking away and I got my walking pole. Oops, sorry, I dropped the camera right down. I got the walking pole stuck in the gaps of the boards. So, yeah. Anyway, when we get out through here, we will go through a little bit of woodland, and then into some fields, which, well, I don't know what it's going to be like there, but we'll have to see. But this is where it's a long boardwalk, because as I said, this is very marshy ground. I don't know who's responsible for this boardwalk, whether it's Caldry or the council, possibly the council. But the finger posts, although they're still there, I've seen better days by the looks of it, with all the liching on there, but it tells you all the different walks on there. We've come to the end of it now. We've got to go back down, up through this little bit of woodland, as I was saying. I love this old hazel tree here just in front of me, the way that the branches have twisted. Just look at this. The branches, they're all, most of the big branches are all twisted. Another one there, look. It twists all the way up. I don't know why that would happen, but that's an interesting piece. Look at the way the branches go up and they fuse themselves round each other. It's just lovely. I always stop and look at that tree when I come on this walk. The wind is getting up now, which is a little bit worrying. And the microphones on the GoPro will pick up that wind easily, because there's 3 on this one. It's a very overcast day, but it's the 29th of December and it is so mild, it's crazy. I think Cynthia said earlier on that it was going to be 17 degrees.
Could be 17, yeah.
Could reach 17 degrees. Anyway, as I mentioned, we're going to be at the edge of these fields, so it should be a lot drier for a little way. So let's press on, shall we? Difficult. Or not difficult, but not impossible. Obviously the brambles have been left to grow in and made it very difficult, because that's probably as bad as I've ever seen that through there. It's as you can see, Cynthia's come through, but her son-in-law actually was mentioning to us earlier on about a section of the walk. He's a runner. When he comes out running, getting fit, there was a section that he couldn't get through because it said it was so overgrown with brambles. Now that there could be the point where he couldn't get through, because that was very difficult. Oh, itchy head. And again, that's the worst I've ever seen that. But we're just now coming along this gate, and it's the National Trust and Wall Beading Parkland. Cynthia's holding the kissing gate for me.
Forget Blinky's hedge.
Yeah, Blinky's hedge is a hawthorn hedge, and we noticed this here a couple of years ago. And in fact, Blinky, whoever Blinky was, died in 2018. So it's Blinky's hedge in loving memory of Blinky Truby, 1950 to 2018. So that goes all the way up the edge of this meadow, and clearly it's an area that Blinky enjoyed, and that's why they planted that hawthorn hedge for him. So in here now, sometimes there's cattle, sometimes there's not, and you can sometimes, I've been here when there's been deer in this parkland. And we've got the folly up there, the top of the field. Not sure if we're going to go up that way or not, but this is the footpath directly up in front of me. And away to my right hand side is Wall Beading House and the new glass house that the National Trust had put up. And it's shaped in like a flower, and when it opens up, it's like a flower that's burst into flower. So as you can see, let me show you the sky. Very overcast. All I've got on underneath my rain mac is a short sleeve t-shirt and this thin top, and I'm absolutely boiling. But we've got to try and keep getting out, keep the walking going. I need to get back into some more long distance walking, even on my own, 5 or 6 miles at a time perhaps, and try and get my fitness levels back up again. So they have waned a bit over the last few months, so that's the plan. Just behind us, the 272, and the road opposite leads up to Redford, Milan and Midhurst, places like that. So we're now on Midhurst Common side, and we're heading up through this first lot of trees, and we come out onto a little lane up the top here. Then we turn right and then we head up onto the common proper. Look at this big hollow here. Could that have been something that was mined out of there? Or, pardon?
Bomb crater?
Or, as Cynthia's just said, possibly a bomb crater from World War II. Because I do know from my mother, where she lived as a little girl, she'd have been probably what, 11, 12, 13, something like that. Born in 1929, and she can remember seeing the German bombers come over and dump their payload before they'd got anywhere near London, and they would turn round and fly back to Germany. I daren't comment, really. So anyway, that's the tree that's across our path. Well, ladies and gentlemen, or viewer, whichever it might be, we've got, as you can see from my camera, my video camera, we've reached the lookout point on Midhurst Common, and we're directly facing the wind. So the wind is coming in off the South Downs and or swirling around a little bit here. Cynthia's doing her coat up, and I will do exactly the same thing, because that wind is cutting right through our clothing. So that's where we are. We're just going to have a quick break. We have got some coffee with us, and have a quick sandwich, and then it'll be back down through the rest of the common, and then back to the allotment. Well, back to the allotment, onto the allotment, yeah, to see what's going on there. So yeah, interesting. And we've got to go down there in a minute. Cynthia and I have had our break, chatted to a couple of gentlemen. As we walked down the path, Cynthia noticed this. Some sort of a stone with an initial W. And I've never seen this before, and clearly it's been repaired, because you can see where it's been glued together. But fascinating, it's got initials on the back, or letter W, M on the back. But as Cynthia said, this has been cleared all the way through to this stone. And I've walked this common many, many times, and I have never ever seen that before. There's got to be some significance to that. I need to look into the history of this and find out what it is. Very interesting conversation with the two chaps just now. One I thought I recognised, and they, as Cynthia said, they seem to be sort of loitering about, hanging around, and I said, first of all, I think the conversation was on about where he lived, from the family of the West family at Fernhurst, and I said, were you related to the Wests at Henley Common? And he was. His grandparents lived in a cottage at I can't remember the name of the cottages. Cuckoo's Corner. It was called Cuckoo's Corner, and there was two cottages, and there was West family living in both of them. And I said to him, were they Jehovah's Witnesses? And he said, well, in fact, he said the whole of the West family are Jehovah's Witnesses. And we were talking about different things, and they were about to set off, and his name was Ian West. And Ian said, because I told him where I lived at Henley Common, he said one story about those cottages. He said, we were walking past one day, and we folded up a Watchtower magazine, and he wrote on it, free copy. And they went and did their little visit round all the little cottages and houses and that were at Henley Common. And he said, and as we walked back down the road to go home, this Watchtown magazine come flying out through the letterbox, and I said, and I can tell you exactly who that was that did that. I said that was my brother Keith. I said because he actually related that story to me many years ago, and Ian said that it had to be 50 years ago when that happened. And I do remember the West family were often up and down where we lived, dropping their magazines in. But yeah, interesting, a very funny coincidence that he mentioned that, but I actually knew that it was my brother that pushed it back out through the letterbox. That's not quite what my brother told me. He actually told me that he went outside and shouted to them to take their rubbish home with them. So it was just funny that he mentioned that story, and I actually can confirm that it happened and who it was that pushed it back through the letterbox. So, but the two gentlemen are way in front of us walking along. But yeah, hadn't seen him for many years. So yeah, but he lives in Midhurst the same as I do. But yeah, anyway, we're coming now to the bottom of Midhurst Common. We're clocking up the mileage for Cynthia.
Oh, we're doing well.
Doing well, aren't we?
We're doing really well.
In fact, it's got to be further than what we thought. We thought it was going to be about 4 or 5 miles, and it's actually going to be more up around perhaps 6.5. So she'll only have a very short walk tomorrow to finish off her 1,000 miles in a calendar year. And she's told me in no uncertain terms that I've got to sign up for it again. Now I'm retired, and you know, this time I've got to be determined and try and get it finished. I was doing so well at the start of this year. I think I was coming up to about May or June, I'd already done over 400 miles. So I was doing very well, but had to go back to work, I'm afraid. Well, we've made it to the allotment. We've just had a quick check round, and it's not as bad as we thought it was going to be, actually. We've just put some bird food out. We've checked the greenhouse. Cynthia's got cabbages in there which are still growing, which is great. Let me just show you through the dirty glass. We are going to try and get this all cleaned up. Got cabbages growing in there, which is great. So we're going to be heading off to my place now to try and get cleaned up. Get all this stuff out of this, all this mud off us. So anyway, as he sticks his walking pole in the ground for this end video. So we've had a good walk, we've enjoyed it. Very wet, very muddy, but hey, you've nearly completed your mileage.
I think I've got about 2 to go.
About 2 to go, that's brilliant. So that means you can have Friday off with her feet up. Yeah. Okay everybody, look, we're at the allotment, we're heading home. This is the end of the walk for today. So don't forget, follow, like and subscribe. Check me out on all the different social media platforms. Kevin's Rambles group is a new one. Sign up for it. Let's get this group growing as quickly as we can. Okay everybody, this is Kevin and Cynthia saying bye bye, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye, bye bye, bye. Oh, Happy New Year.
Hi everybody, my name's Lara. If you've enjoyed watching Kevin's video today, then please follow him on social media, like this video and subscribe to his channel. Thank you.